When God intervenes on our behalf to perform miracles, we're not likely to forget those experiences. It's easy for us to recall miracles that we've personally witnessed, especially when we've reached out to God in prayer, often in desperation. I encourage my readers to identify the miracles in their lives and to hold them dear as they continue to rely on God for answers to prayer. Chapter 5 is entitled God Revealed in Our Hours of Need. The stories of this chapter are very personal and speak to divine interventions in my life and in the lives of my family members. For me, one of the most remarkable examples of a miracle is told in chapter 5 in a story I've entitled Prayers for Mom. In 1980, when I was 32 and my mother Rose was 62, my parents were living in Michigan and my young family had recently moved to Boston. It was particularly difficult to move away from my parents as we were also separating them from their granddaughters, Heidi, age 5, and Dina, age 2. On a lovely Eastern autumn morning, I received a call from my father in which he revealed in a very soft and faltering voice that Mom was experiencing chest pains and dizziness, so he had taken her to the hospital and she was admitted for testing. The results showed significant arterial blockages, and she had been slated for exploratory surgery as soon as possible. Sue and I were hit hard, not only because my mother's life was at stake, but also because we lived so far away. The hours that followed were tense, to say the least. I was consumed by the realization that I hadn't told my mother often enough how much I loved her and how much she meant to my personal development and professional experience. I had so much to say about my faith and about her incredible influence during our many kitchen table talks that occurred throughout my life. Her constant encouragement and her persistent advice to always act with integrity had shaped my life and many of my decisions. Over the phone on that day of her surgery, my apprehensions were heightened when Dad indicated that the doctors told him the surgery was extremely risky, especially for someone with such extreme blockages. I was completely rattled. All I could do was hold fast to my faith in God and hope that His will would mesh with my own. Dad then put Mom on the phone and I fought back the tears as we spoke. I told her how much I loved her and appreciated her considerable efforts in raising me. I told her I'd be praying for her, and I reminded her that miracles do happen, and all things are possible for those who believe and trust in the Lord. Then I covered the mouthpiece to muffle my sobs as she told me how proud she was of me, my young family, and my professional accomplishments. We believed in the power of prayer, but like many Christian families, we didn't pray together as a family often enough. But this was clearly one of those moments when we were frightened and in desperate need of divine intervention. Later on the morning of Mom's surgery, Sue, Heidi, Dina, and I were driving to a local shopping mall in Walpole, Massachusetts. After I parked the car, we prayed together, not only for successful surgery, but also for a complete healing of Mom's condition. That prayer lasted no longer than a minute or two. And as we finished, Sue and I both silently considered the real possibility of a less than satisfactory outcome. Nonetheless, we trusted that God's will would prevail. Later that day, my father called to report the results of the surgery. "You're not going to believe this, Freddie," he said. "The doctors don't even believe it. They performed the surgery today and found clean arteries. They said they were as clean, as clear as those of a newborn baby." Dad indicated that the surgeon told him even after successful surgery, the arteries could never have been restored to this condition. Yet it had happened before any surgery was even performed. The surgeon himself said it had to be the result of divine intervention. For the rest of her life, Mom required no surgery, and despite having a very poor family history, she lived to the age of 82 when she quietly and peacefully died in her sleep. Many times it takes a crisis to bring us to our knees before our God. We often wonder if seemingly miraculous results are really just the success of medical science. But in my opinion, and in the opinion of the surgeon, my mother's healing can't be explained in any way other than a miraculous healing from God. If you can recall reaching out to God in desperation and receiving a miracle, please honor Him by retelling your story in a way that will inspire others. Chapter 5 of my book contains other examples of God revealed in my hours of need.